Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Elon Musk's Twitter community notes are the greatest thing to happen to the public discussion, to the political discussion in the modern era. It has to make a difference. After years and years and years and years of these leftoids virtue signaling and lecturing about the dangers of misinformation, finally, it's obvious, it's clear as day that the only people spreading despicable misinformation is, of course, them. And honestly, it's not like Joe Biden misinformation. Joe saying something like he created 8 million new jobs since he became president is a lie, it's disingenuous, but it's not destructive. When he claims he's bringing back manufacturing jobs, or that wages are increasing, he's a darn liar, it's unethical, but it pales in comparison to what these far leftist activists do on these sensitive racial issues. I mean, you have to be a legitimately horrible person to engage in this kind of behavior. To take such a sensitive topic and to pour fuel on the fire simply because your political persona depends on it, you need to create this animosity, this racial angst, and this racial division, this victim versus oppressor narrative to simply exist so you can cast yourself as a hero or a heroine of the day. This kind of misinformation, this manipulation of the public, has to be the most dangerous and the most unethical thing going on right now in the political sphere. Let me show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so we're right back on the issue of, I forget his name, one second, the Jordan Neely incident, which happened on a New York subway train. In the previous video, we covered most of the context. We tackled the AOC response. This video is going to be quite similar, except this time, we're talking about another squad member, Ayanna Pressley, who, to be completely honest with you, took it even further and took a much more despicable step than her squad counterpart, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. We know the context. Mr. Jordan Neely made terroristic threats while seeming totally unhinged on a subway train. Multiple passengers then essentially restrained him, put him in a chokehold, and tragically his life was lost. There's a whole lot of nuance here. At the end of the day, I think most people who are rational and have their heads screwed on straight are on the side of the Good Samaritans and not the individual who made terroristic threats in an enclosed space like a subway cart. That's the quick summation for people who haven't followed the story. And of course, the far left has taken the angle that this individual was murdered, it was a homicide, and they're even adding a racial narrative or a racial motive to the actions taken towards this individual. We saw the AOC tweet. Well, it gets even worse when you take a look at the type of misinformation that Ayanna Pressley is spreading. Look at this tweet. He was 30 years old. Black men deserve to grow old, not to be lynched on a subway because they were having a mental health crisis. Jordan deserved better. Accountability now. She then attaches a video of the individual doing a Michael Jackson impersonation, and so you can obviously tell what she's trying to do here. He was just an innocent man doing his little Michael Jackson show in the subway, and he was, quote, lynched for having a mental health crisis. Thankfully, Twitter community notes came in as usual to save the day. This is a 2012 video of Jordan Neely, not conduct that led to his death. He was restrained by 3 individuals in 2023. It was in response to aggressive, threatening behavior. He also had an active felony assault warrant, in addition to 44 prior arrests. Ayanna Pressley posted an 11-year-old video of the individual purposely trying to mislead the public into thinking that he was just an innocent man whose life was taken for no reason, because he was, quote, having a mental health crisis, as if the individual was just, I don't know, depressed, struggling, crying, having a meltdown, and so people decided to just take his life. Yeah, that doesn't happen, and that certainly didn't happen here. We know the facts of the case. He was issuing terroristic threats, claiming he was going to do harm to people. And by the way, Jordan Neely has an extensive rap sheet of doing exactly that. In fact, I can't verify his identity in all of these clips that are now surfacing online, so I'm not going to show them or present them as evidence, but let's just say there's a whole lot of clips from the New York subway system, and also on the street, of a Michael Jackson impersonator assaulting people. Anybody who understands the basic facts of this case as they stand right now knows that most likely race did not play a role whatsoever. We can't make that statement definitively, but there's no evidence to suggest that this was racially motivated at all. Yet, what does the left do? Immediately, without any facts, they rush to racialize it. Black men deserve to grow old and should not be lynched. CNN then joins on the bandwagon, pushing a similar angle of the story to Ayanna Pressley. Before Jordan Neely was killed on a New York City subway car this week, he was known for his swift Michael Jackson dance moves that entertained many, yet he struggled with the trauma his mother's murder had left with him at an early age. He literally walked into a subway cart and threatened violence against random people just trying to get to work or their next destination. Not to mention, in their article itself, they literally write that he had a series of run-ins with New York police. A law enforcement source told CNN's John Miller, including 42 arrests on charges including petty larceny, jumping subway turnstiles, theft, and 3 unprovoked assaults on women in the subway between 2019 and 2021. Those are just the 3 unprovoked assaults that we know of. This guy was literally running rampant in the subway system, assaulting women completely unprovoked. Yet we're supposed to focus on the fact that he had trauma because of a loss at an early age, and that he was actually just a simple Michael Jackson impersonator, and that's what he was known for? No, this guy was known for being a lunatic that assaulted women randomly. You cannot make this stuff up. Yet the woke is lecturing us on how we're such terrible people for, having a basic standard like feeling safe while taking public transport.
I was hit at one point sitting on the subway by a man who was having a mental health episode. He sat next to me and he was elbowing and kind of flailing around and hit me in the face and in my body. And it was jarring, right? The idea that I would want him to be hurt in any way, I just didn't want to be near him in that moment because I understood something was going on here. Every one of us who's taken public transit has had this kind of situation, something similar happen, seeing someone struggling. That doesn't mean that our fear in that instance, and I was a little scared because I was hit.
It's a problem. Like, it's people that need help.
But my fear is not the primary object of like what we should be focusing on right now. It's the fact that this person is in pain. And so, like, the politics of dehumanization privileges the bourgeois kind of concern of people's like immediate discomfort in this narrow instance, as opposed to larger humanity and life. It's really freaking twisted.
Yeah,
Oh, that's actually a bourgeois feeling. It sounds all fluffy and nice and makes you feel all warm inside, but it's frankly effing stupid. You know who my empathy is aimed at? The women who are being randomly assaulted by crazed lunatics in the subway system. Those are the people who we should be humanizing. Yet the left does what they always do. They're gonna humanize the criminal. And what they mean by humanize the criminal is they're gonna selectively humanize people that fit their specific narrative that they can misconstrue and twist the story in order to further perpetuate this misinformation that America is this terrible, deeply racist place where black people are unsafe. And of course, that kind of manipulative rhetoric has serious impacts. I mean, just take a look what people are already saying on the streets of New York.
The days of murdering us and getting away with it are over. Over and done! If we have to strap up and come out here and just start popping, it's gonna happen. We're tired of it. Let's go! That's it.
We're black people under attack!
You try to encroach upon any one of us, we laying you the down. They didn't learn after George Floyd. They didn't learn. My body count is established. Look it up. Criminal court, murder.
Let's have a conversation about misinformation and incitement to violence. Let's humanize the people and show compassion. Except it's always so selective. I mean, it wasn't so long ago on the streets in St. Louis, you guys remember this situation where a homeless man was literally executed on the streets in broad daylight. How about we humanize him? The left didn't speak a single word of this individual. Countless situations like this as well, even in New York City. And the left doesn't say a peep. Don't talk to me about humanizing anyone. Don't talk to me about ethics, morality. You have none. These people are political vultures, and what they're doing is frankly evil. I mean, the damage that they are causing to willfully lie and misrepresent the truth for your own benefit, so you can look good to the masses. The damage these people cause, I mean, for Pete's sakes, people still think that Kyle Rittenhouse indiscriminately murdered was a mass shooter and took the lives of 3 innocent black people. It's absurd. Excuse me if I'm getting a little bit frustrated, but in this case, I think it's absolutely warranted. Pay attention, lefties. Your leftist heroes are completely out of control. That's what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel. Of course, you know that we'd love to have you here at the Liberal Hive Mind. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.